Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us today. So we have a program for you. Well, let me first introduce myself. My name is John Costello de Armas, and I'm the artistic director of the Buffalo Chamber Players. So today we put a program for you about Hispanic composers. Some you may have heard of, some you may not have heard of. But we're going to focus on rhythm, how they used rhythm in their music, especially the habanera, or the tango, which we'll show you in a little bit what that's like. We have some claves over here that you'll be tapping rhythms with us as well. You'll learn all these. I forgot to mention at the top of the show that I was born in Puerto Rico, and so I do identify with that. Puerto Rico, it's a U.S. territory, so we're, just like most of you, or all of you perhaps, we're born U.S. citizens, but inside I've been living here for a long time, and there's a part of me that yearns to be back on the beach, especially in the winter here. Especially, I think about the beach. I think about the beach a lot. So now we're going to turn to. So Puerto Rico's in the Caribbean, and a few islands over is Cuba. Cuba, the capital of Cuba, is Havana or Habana. So in the 19th century, there was a dance, the habanera, that was very popular and made its way all the way back to Europe. And we're gonna play for you probably the most famous habanera. It's from an opera named Carmen by a French composer. So this is 19th century was really hard to get around, and this style made it all the way from the Caribbean all the way to France. So we're gonna play George Bizet's Carmen opera, the selection habanera. So it's a Caribbean dance, but French style. So enjoy. Maybe I'm dating myself a little bit, but there used to be an old Sesame Street segment of Singing Orange. I see the parents nodding. So if you haven't shown your kids, kids go on YouTube and search Sesame Street Orange habanera. It's hilarious. Even when I still hear the opera, even doing the opera, I still think of that. So that was in France. So now we're going to move to Spain. Around the same time, roughly 19th century, composer Isaac Albeniz wrote a tango. So the tango, even though it's called a tango, it uses the exact same rhythm as the habanera. And actually, Eva, if you could show us the beginning of Carmen, because the habanera is what makes an habanera is this rhythm. If you can just play just a few notes of the
one we just did?
Yeah, the one we just did. So that dum ba bum 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 ba bum, that most of the pieces we're gonna play for you today are gonna have that, and so we'll even pass some claves around and we can tap that rhythm as well, see how it goes. We can clap along too, but don't clap along now while we play it, because then it gets a little distracting. But so we're gonna play Tango by Isaac Albeniz. It was originally a piano piece that it's been arranged for string quartet, so enjoy it. And do listen for that rhythm, the tango rhythm, listen for it, you'll hear it. I mean, I think you guys got it, but it's fun sometimes to tap along these rhythms. Sometimes you make, plus I brought these, so we're gonna use them. Here we go. We're gonna have two of these, because you're gonna bang them together. So these are called claves. Claves, I actually don't know what, there's no translation for claves other than two sticks made out of wood that you bang together. And it is a musical instrument. Our percussionist friends at the Buffalo Philharmonic Orchestra play these. Let me pass some to some adults too. Here, somebody wants to, there you go. So here, so that rhythm was ta, 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 ta. So maybe I'll start and you can join me. And something you can notice so it's long, short, long, or long, short, semi-short. So thumb, ta, thumb, thumb. And that short note sort of gives the whole thing the flavor of the rhythm. So it's not just ta, 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 but it's thumb, ta, thumb, 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 ta, thumb, thumb. So there's impulse to it. That's why. So even when we're playing these very lyrical melodies, there's this underlying rhythm that really drives. It's the motor. The rhythm is the motor. And even though we don't have a drummer or percussionist here, we serve as the percussion of the ensemble. So let's try it one more time. Here we go. That's excellent. That's very good. So we're gonna go. This is still gonna be in Spain. This is a composer by the name of Sebastián Irayer. What's interesting he was not only Spanish, but he was Basque, from the Basque region. They speak Spanish, but they also have their own language as well. So he wrote. It's funny how things move around the world. The first tango habanera that you heard from Carmen from the opera, Bizet thought he was using a folk melody to write the habanera. It turns out this composer had written it, he just didn't know, so he actually stole that. So even though we all think of Carmen's habanera as written by Bizet, Bizet didn't write it. It was Sebastián Irayer. We're not gonna play his habanera, but we're gonna do a different piece by him, once I find where I put it. It's called La Paloma. La Paloma, I don't know if anybody speaks Spanish here. La Paloma means the pigeon. And you'll find, or the dove actually, the dove or the pigeon, it depends what you're, I don't know, but the distinction is maybe one's culinary, the other, the other is, no, that's horrible. But, so, and you'll find as we get to more of these pieces, the titles don't have a lot to do with the character of the piece. Something I've learned now as an adult, a lot of Caribbean, like salsa or like, especially earlier 20th century songs, a lot of them are about food. But you hear that and you would never think it's anything about food. And actually, we will have one about food a little bit later. So this is Sebastián Irayer's La Paloma. And listen for that tango rhythm. If you want to tap it softly or clap with your fingers or something, feel free to, so you feel it. Thank you. So I'm not sure if you noticed that last one. It was a little bit different than the other, even though it's the same rhythm. I think that one was a little more laid back, perhaps. I don't know if you saw there was, so instead of bum bottom bum, it was dum bottom bum bottom bum. So it's just incredibly subtle difference. The way you play a rhythm, it can make all the difference of the music. And I think that one you could really hear. There was the underlying rhythm, but then there's this soaring, beautiful melody on top. And I think that's why the habanera rhythm has to be a little gentler, perhaps, just to accommodate the more lyrical melody. Now we're going to go to South America. South America, especially Argentina, known for the tango. And the tango, indeed, comes from the same rhythm. Like we said, we already played a Spanish tango, which uses the habanera rhythm. Yeah, it gets a little bit complicated. They just use different words for the same thing. So this one is by Ángel Villoldo. Ángel Villoldo was a Argentine composer of tangos, and one of his most famous ones is called El Choclo. And I mentioned a little bit ago how a lot of songs, Spanish songs, especially early 20th century, they're about food. So El Choclo, even though you'll hear it and you may recognize it, El Choclo translates to the corn cob. So it's the corn cob. It doesn't make any sense, but it doesn't have to make sense. It's just a really nice melody. Like there are a lot, my family, even though I was born in Puerto Rico, a lot of my family is of Cuban descent. And all these songs that I've listened to over the years, they're about either hot chocolate or like going to the grocery store to buy whatever, or the fruit vendor, or all these things. But it's funny, unless you speak Spanish, and even I speak Spanish, and unless I really listen to the lyrics, I would have never guessed that that's what it's about. So this one is the corn cob by Ángel Villoldo. But yeah, we're going to end now with Carlos Gardel's Por una Cabeza.
you.